These shoes right here with this plain Air Monarch looking colorway may look boring, but this is a legit performer. What's up and welcome back to another WearTesters performance review. My name is Alan and today we're taking a look at the GT Cut Academy. This is the takedown model of the GT Cut 3, which is the latest flagship model of the GT Cut line. Even though this is the budget-friendly option of that shoe, that doesn't mean this is less capable. In fact, I think this could be a better option for a lot of people, depending on their preferences in cushion and fit. The low price of the shoe is definitely an enticing factor. It is $95 retail, but right now you can get it on sale for $70, and I'm pretty sure you could get it for much lower later on. What's really cool is that you can also go on Nike ID and create your own colorway. That's something that you can't do with the GT Cut 3. Aesthetics aside and price aside, the performance of this shoe really holds up. This shoe is very dependable and straightforward. Not everyone needs the latest and greatest tech, they just want a shoe that works. This shoe is exactly that. Traction performance in this shoe was very good. I brought these shoes to a clean court and a dusty court and it performed pretty well. The traction setup consists of a solid rubber outsole. All the other colorways out there have a solid rubber outsole option. Even the Nike ID options are just all solid, so I am hoping that whatever colorway you get, it will perform as well as my pair. It has this herringbone traction pattern, slightly modified, but this is as close as you could get to the classic zigzag herringbone traction pattern. I was able to reap the full benefits of that solid rubber outsole as well as that traction pattern in the really clean court. It was allowing me to just run around, wreak havoc on defense, just run and get a layup and all of that. I felt confident all of the time. When I brought these to the dusty courts, the dust did affect it, but there wasn't a dramatic drop off in performance. It just required 1 or 2 wipes in the really dusty courts and it just worked right away. At one point, I even played with these shoes outdoors and then brought it back indoors, and after a few wipes, it still worked pretty well. So I would say that the traction for this shoe is something you won't worry about. I still believe that this is an indoor shoe, but given the price and the fair hardness of the outsole, I think this will be a solid option if you're playing outdoors primarily. I really appreciated the underrated aspect of the tongue and the eyelets here in the ankle area. I think in performance basketball shoes in general, I think eyelets are very underrated, especially the extra eyelets towards the end, because heel slippage is one of the common problems that people get, especially when they size up or have to size up in their shoes. A couple years back, the KD15 was released and a lot of people had issues with that shoe in terms of heel slippage. Some people even took it upon themselves to mess with the upper and poke a hole themselves just so they could have an extra eyelet. With this shoe, you don't have to do that. It has these 3 extra eyelets towards the end and you could customize the way your shoe is tied towards that area, and that gives you a more lockdown feel. Of course, the extra eyelets is not all that's doing the work. You've got an adequate amount of cushion around the ankles. Personally, I would have liked them to be thicker, but this is better than having super thin cushion around. What's also helping that is this compact tongue that this shoe has. I like that it's slightly plush. Also, it just doesn't move around that much. It has this lace lock right here in the middle that allows it to just stay in place. And those are just like the little things that I think some of the other shoes sometimes miss. When you combine that lace lock with this tongue and the adequate cushion around the ankles as well as those eyelets, you have a really good lockdown feel around the ankle, and that's what I'm always looking for my shoes. I want no hesitation or no type of worry surrounding my ankles right here. As for the overall fit of the shoe, I would say it fits more on the narrow and a snug side. So if you want a 1-to-1 fit, where your toes are close to the edge and you have a snug midfoot, going true to size will work for you. But if you're like me and you want extra toe box space and you want a little more breathing room for your midfoot section in the foot, you'll have to go at least up half a size. The cushion setup was adequate enough for me. I didn't feel any sort of bad break-in period. My legs felt fine. I think this is the aspect that may make the GT Cut 3 a more worthy purchase if you are someone who craves a more bouncy and propulsive cushion. The cushion in here is more of a firmer setup. I would say it's just average, and the fact that the cushion is not super plush, that makes the shoe more responsive. It doesn't have to sink in as much. The cushion setup of these shoes still allowed me to be confident enough to go for rebounds and, you know, just play as hard as I could. I really felt like the impact protection and cushion of the shoes was adequate enough for me, and I think it will be serviceable enough. There is a bottom loaded unit in there. I personally never felt it, maybe because I am a light person, but sometimes I like it when an air unit is not noticeable. Some people will definitely feel differently. They want to know that there is an air zoom unit in there and they want to feel it. They want to know that it's working, and I understand that, but for this shoe, I don't think you're gonna notice that air zoom unit in here. The upper of the shoe is very minimal. There's little to no break-in time, and it just allows the shoe to be lightweight. It is mostly mesh, but this mesh is it's not super malleable. I think it's just enough rigidity that allows your feet to just stay in the footbed. The inner lining of the shoe I am a big fan of. It's not rough, it's soft. I wouldn't say it's neoprene, I think it's closer to felt. Whatever material it is, I like that it is soft. It's not as breathable as it looks. The exterior may seem like it's this thin mesh, but again, underneath is that interior padding, but it's definitely going to be more breathable than something that has suede or leather. It's just as light as my Tatum 1s in the same size, and the Tatum 1s are the lightest Jordan Performance basketball shoes, I believe, at the moment. Weight is just one thing. You know, you have heavy shoes sometimes that feel light, and then you have light feeling shoes that feel clunky and heavy. A lot of it has to do with the shoe construction. But with this shoe, I would confidently conclude that this shoe felt light on foot for sure. I didn't even think about them, and that's the best thing that you could say about shoes sometimes, if they feel like a natural extension of your foot, and that's what it should be. You have this sidewall right here on the lateral side. That definitely aids a little bit in terms of keeping your foot in the footbed. It even has it around here on the medial side. Another underrated support feature is this outrigger right here. It may seem small, but just having that extra piece of outsole just jet out a little bit is going to prevent you from easily just rolling over or spraining your ankle. Focus on your ankle strength as well. The shoe can only do so much, but yeah, it's nice to just have an outrigger right there. In terms of torsional support, it doesn't have a shank plate here. If you try hard enough, is bendable. A quick fix for this is to use an insole that has more torsional rigidity, something like a Move insole. Put it in there and that will give you a little bit more torsional support. I know that's important for a lot of people. The heel counter of the shoe, you'll feel a really solid internal counter that will allow your heel to stay locked in. That is about it for my performance review of the GT Cut Academy. If you want a shoe that won't break the bank but will still be straightforward and reliable, then this is a shoe for you. Should you get this or the GT Cut 3? That's really going to come down to your preference. Cushion, fit, and the Nike ID. I think those three things are going to be the biggest factors, as well as the price, obviously. As always, hopefully you use your shoes, have fun, play some games with friends, win some games, and I'll see you again on the next performance review. Doesn't matter what shoes you have on. It's the player that makes the shoes, not the shoes that makes the players.
Thank you. Period. I think you forgot something.